Just closed a deal? Great! Let's make sure your onboarding goes off without a hitch so that your customers are enchanted from day one. Client onboarding is a common post-sale activity across most service-based companies. With HubSpot's new service object, I'm going to show you how you can automatically create your onboarding object the moment a deal is marked closed won. This not only helps you ensure that your internal processes move slowly, but can also give prompt, personalized attention to your new customers right from the start. So the first step here, if you haven't yet turned on the service object, we're going to go into the settings and make sure we actually have that enabled into our portal. So if you haven't seen the latest updates here, there is now this object library where HubSpot is giving us a couple other default objects to use outside of just the normal contacts, deals, companies and tickets. You can now turn on a couple of these other objects. So here I'm actually going to be turning on, well, I already have on the services object. So on your end, if you have not done that, this is where you're going to come under settings into the object library, and then you're going to just make sure you check the check mark here to enable the services. When you do that, it will prompt you to add in a couple of additional properties and things like that. You can create the pipeline and kind of go through the setup of exactly what you want here. But that is very similar to just like you would do like a deal pipeline or a ticket pipeline. It really works the exact same way as far as the setup goes. So under that service object, once you have it enabled, you'd be able to go into those pipelines and of course develop different types of pipelines, add those stages as you see fit. So in this case, I just created a very typical onboarding pipeline here. We've got a couple stages to kind of get us going through this process. So this will be step one if you haven't already established the service object or a onboarding pipeline prior to viewing this video. All right, so jumping into the workflow builder now, we are going to go ahead and get started on our enrollment criteria, which we all know is going to be the most important part of building any workflow, is making sure you've got this part nailed down. So we're going to start off with making sure we have the right criteria. So of course we are going to base this off of a closed won deal. So we are going to go ahead and select the deal. Go ahead and get in a stage here. And of course we want this to be closed won. I think I have a closed won sales pipeline stage here. And then you can also, of course, add other criteria. So maybe not every single closed won deal gets onboarded. Maybe there are only certain service packages that you offer or a certain mix of products that actually would have a true onboarding need. So if that's the case, you'd be able to just continue to refine that. So in this case, maybe we have a certain service package, but we want to be able to select from in this case, we have a basic, standard, advanced, and enterprise. Maybe onboarding is only for advanced and enterprise or something like that in this scenario. You'd be able to go ahead and refine by those different types. Or maybe you actually do have different types of onboarding for all four of these categories. This is where the complexity can have a little bit of fun, and you can really customize HubSpot to work for you and for your business needs. So for now, I'm actually just going to put the service package is known, just making sure, if we'd had required properties in that deal stage or anything like that, that we do in fact know what service someone has when they land in that closed one. Also want to take a time to consider whether or not you need to re-enroll. In this case, you're only going to onboard someone once, so we can go ahead and leave that toggle off and continue. So from here, we can start building out our steps. So the first step is really just going to be creating that new record. So we're going to go ahead and type in create record, and we are going to be creating a service object record. Then, of course, when it comes to naming these objects, it's going to be varied across different businesses, whatever you might call your onboarding experience. And maybe you want to use the full deal name. Maybe you just want the company name. This is kind of where you get to add your own little flair and taste to things. So I'm going to just go ahead and take the company name here and just put onboarding. But of course, you can customize this with different naming conventions or acronyms. You can place in dates or other fun things like that just to keep track of exactly what you want in that naming convention. Then, of course, you're going to make sure you select your appropriate pipeline if you did create more than one service pipeline, and of course, the stage as well. All right, so today I'm going to be talking about starting off with kind of a weighting assignment. So if you don't maybe always have straightforward assignments when it comes to passing your deals from a sales rep to like an account manager or a CSM or a CS owner, there's a million different words that people use for who's going to handle that client relationship after the sale. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and actually put it in a stage where it's going to wait on someone to actually assign it. But of course, you can create workflows for automatic assignments, again, basing that off of different service packages or mixes of products or anything like that to, maybe assign to certain teams or rotate across teams. Really just depends on your organization. But for now, we're just going to go ahead and assume that this is going to be just manually assigned to a user, maybe by like the manager or something like that. So at this point, this seems, fairly simple, right? We're just creating a record, but you probably want to make sure that you are also transferring information from that closed won deal into your onboarding. So you want to be able to reference things right at hand without maybe having to bounce back and forth between those different objects. So that's where we're going to go ahead and start adding in some more properties and copying them over from the original deal that is enrolling into this workflow into the new service record that we are creating. So in this case, let's think about, what kind of information would we want to know? Probably need to know when is their start date, when is their end date. So we're going to go ahead and start copying those over from one object to the other. Of course, you always want to make sure you have both of those properties created. So if you do have a contract start and end date in your deal, you want to make sure you create those same properties now that you've created that service object as well. So we're going to go ahead and just set both of those to copy. So we've got our start, now we've got our end. And maybe we also need to coordinate some additional details with whoever sold it, right? So let's copy over that deal owner, but in this case, we're going to put it in a different property, just labeled as like original salesperson or some sales owner, however you want to phrase that, because we want of course, the service and onboarding object to be owned by whoever's actually handling that, whether, again, that's an account manager or a CSM or whatever term you use for whoever's handling that client relationship. So we're just going to copy the current deal owner into this new property for the salesperson so they know who to coordinate with for that internal meeting or transferring any customer knowledge. All right, so I think that's a good start. Of course, you can continue to add as many properties and as many details as you need from the original deal into that service object, just continuing that same type of process. Then as we scroll down, we can add some activity. So anything that maybe happened in the deal, maybe we do want to be able to see that within the service record and not maybe start completely from scratch. If that's the case, you can always check that box and kind of determine how long it is that you actually want to pull in some of that timeline activity. Or if you do want to start from scratch, of course, you don't have to check that at all. Then at the very bottom here, we also want to make sure that maybe we maintain associations, right? So we want to know what contacts, our main point of contact, our decision makers, who are we coordinating with, who are we meeting with, those types of things. So you will want to choose to associate additional records. So you could do, of course, all associated contacts, or if you do have personalized labels that you're using across your deals, you can go ahead and start to use any of your association labels. So in this case, we want to make sure we have the decision maker brought in. Again, so that as that handoff happens, we know who to coordinate and who to reach out to when it comes to that client contact. Another important association here is, of course, going to be the company and knowing what company is associated. So of course, if you have other processes going on, tickets or other things like that that you also want to associate, you can continue to build out those associations as you see fit. All right, and with that, we're going to go ahead and hit save for creating our initial record. Now, if you remember, I did say that we are going to go under the assumption that we're not doing some sort of automatic service owner association or routing for anyone. So in this case, we're going to need to make sure that we actually create a task to remind someone that though we've created this new object, it's not assigned to anyone. There's no alerts going out. No one really knows what to do and what happens next. So we're going to go ahead and create a task here as well. And of course you can name these tasks, again, how you see fit. So in this case, maybe we want to say assign account manager. Again, CSM, whatever kind of term you guys use internally, to new customer onboarding. And typically in any of these types of tasks, I also like to kind of reference either, the deal or the company name, something like that, just so that there's a tie back to it. So we'll go ahead and go with associated company again. I would obviously recommend that this is something that is done pretty immediately. So I'm going to go ahead and change that to immediately, and probably make this a high priority task and assign that to the user that is going to be in management of making sure that this is happening. Along with this, we do again want to make sure that we are adding in that association. So we're going to turn this on, and we're going to make sure that we do add in the service object that we just created. So keep in mind, again, this is a deal-based workflow. So everything that we're triggering here is happening based on the deal. So since we've already created the service record, when we create the task, we want that task to also tie back to that service record. And so that would be this additional step here. Once again, if you do want to make sure that that is happening at the company level or any associated contacts, then you can, of course, add those different labels or those different associations, or by association label as well, to make sure that you're getting all of the right parties mixed in to that task. All right, so we've got kind of the base start of this here now. So we've got our enrollment trigger, closed one. We know what service package we have. Maybe we have a branch here if you do have different types of onboarding based on different packages and services that you offer. You could always add a branch to be able to create different types of records that maybe maintain different properties or different pipelines altogether when it comes to managing that onboarding experience as a whole. We've also got our task here to make sure that someone goes and assigns this record, but there's a couple of other things we want to make sure that happens, pretty much right from the start here. So we're going to go back to our workflows and create a secondary workflow that kind of piggybacks off of this first one. Again, just making sure that we are truly keeping things moving in an efficient manner for our team as we transition. All right, so for this second workflow, we're going to focus on the actual service object that's now been created. So we've got that closed on deal, we've got the initial creation, we've got the task assigned, but now we really need to focus on what do we do within our onboarding process. So we're going to go ahead and base this off of our service object. Let's scroll down here. And we want to base it off of that, again, that stage that we once created before. So I think I had awaiting assignment as our very first stage. And once again, re-enrollment here is not really going to be needed since we aren't going to be reassigning or moving things around or really even re-onboarding anyone. So no need to turn that on in this particular case. So we've got this new object, we're waiting on assignment, that task is already out, but we probably have a couple of things that we want to make sure gets going as soon as we do know who the assignment is going to be. So in that case, I really love to use the delay object here, or the delay action, I should say. We're going to delay until the event occurs, and we're going to make sure that we're basing that off of the property value change because we are waiting for this essentially to be assigned an owner. So once the owner is known, then we can essentially kick off all the rest of the information, right? We just want to make sure that we do have an official owner actually assigned to this onboarding. Now, I do also want to kind of create a process to make sure if for some reason an owner does not get assigned relatively quick, that we have an action plan and we alert someone to making sure we get that rectified. So in order to do that, we're going to go ahead and make sure that we have this branch on so that we can basically route it somewhere else in the event that this doesn't get done in a timely fashion. So maybe we have a rule that within 2 days it needs to be assigned. That will kind of, take in place for things like a weekend or holiday or something like that. So let's go ahead and save that. So now you're going to see we've got our enrollment pretty much immediate as soon as that onboarding object is created. And then we're going to delay up to 2 days or waiting until we have the actual owner assigned on this onboarding. So in the case that it is not assigned and it does not meet that criteria, but we did hit that 2 days, for something like that, I would go ahead and create another task or an internal email, a notification, something like that, something to alert that we are still waiting on an assignment. I'll just put account manager assignment for onboarding. Once again, might want to have that be immediate. Maybe we actually even put our alert here in all caps, add a little emoji, something like that to really capture the attention there. And again, making sure we assign that to whatever user is going to be most applicable. And we'll add another high priority here. So of course, again, you can do a task, you can do an internal email notification, you can do in-app notifications, just depends on what your team might be used to. Maybe you have Slack or Teams integrated and you want to blast that into a channel to really make sure someone picks up on the fact that we really need to get this assigned so that we can get the rest of our onboarding kicked off. So of course, in the event that we do have the owner assigned, then let's go ahead and create a task for them to kind of know, like, hey, you've got your new onboarding ready, and let's go ahead and get that internal kickoff scheduled. So we're going to go ahead and do schedule internal kickoff. And part of the key reason I wanted to make sure that we copied over the original deal owner was so that we can reference exactly who that is right here in this task. And then we can even put in, again, who we are onboarding. All right, so schedule internal kickoff, I guess I should say with the original salesperson for onboarding and then the name of the onboarding object itself. Again, probably would have that to be a pretty immediate to-do for you and also probably something very high priority. We want to make sure we get those things passed off as soon as possible to get knowledge transferred and things moving in the right direction. So we can go ahead and click save on that task. And then, of course, we also want to make sure that our client's not left in the dark, right? We've officially closed on the deal. Sales may reach out here or there just to kind of wrap things up, but really we want to make sure we get that introduction of who you are and that we'll be taking on the account as soon as possible. So you could, of course, always add in an automated email as well that has a client onboarding intro. Within that email, you could have different things customized there with who the owner name is or their meeting link to schedule their call, things like that. If you have an onboarding questionnaire, whatever kind of things might be happening in your process, really including exactly what all of those next steps are so that they have the communication out to them as immediate as possible and without requiring your staff to spend a lot of time customizing these emails when we can easily send those out automatically. Maybe if you do need a personal touch, you add an additional task here, attach that to a template to use to kind of pre-fill a lot of that stuff for them. So that is how you can optimize and streamline your new client onboarding. So feel free to use this framework, add your own taste and flavor for your unique business process and needs to help ease your transitioning from your sales team into that service and fulfillment team. So if you found this helpful, definitely be sure to give us a like and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future HubSpot hacks.